there's a sense in baseball where I think rhythm matters maybe more in the sport of baseball, to where having that bye week is the one as the bye, however many days, the first round bye does hurt you. I'll start with you, Will. Here, do you think the college football playoff has a bye week problem, or is this just a sense of it just kind of fell this way? Or I mean, obviously we need more data points and more years to show, but what are your thoughts? Because every single first round team or first round bye team went down in the first round, their first game.
Yeah, because there's too many teams in the playoff. That's why.
Yes.
There shouldn't be any buys. Shouldn't be any buys. This is ridiculous. We're just letting mediocre teams in, and I mean, no mediocre teams have won, but letting mediocre teams in is never good. It's diluted the product. Every game except really for this one and the one yesterday, the Peach Bowl yesterday, have been boring. The Fiesta Bowl was boring. All the first round games were boring. It's a diluted product. Congratulations, ESPN. You made a lot of money on a mediocre product.
Yeah, I was listening to the Fiesta Bowl on my way back from Houston, and I was like, I mean, I'm not even really mad I'm missing this. Like, it just kind of feels like, okay, whatever. Now, the next round I think will be good because you have 4 very good football teams that are going to play in the national championship. I don't think is going to be bad necessarily, but I think it'll be good. Nancy says ASU is supposedly mediocre, but they played a hell of a game, and that's why Will said, the Peach Bowl and then the Sugar Bowl were kind of the 2 marquee games. Outside of that, and I'll say this, the one that was supposed to be really good, Ohio State, Oregon, was an absolute just blowout. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Ralph, do you think they have a bye week issue, or do you agree with Will? Too many teams in the playoff, which has led to this.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with Will. I mean, these teams are still very good teams. Football really, you help to having rest. I mean, you get more time to rest everybody up, then go home for the holidays for maybe a few days and come back if they live close enough, and some of these guys benefit from that kind of stuff. So, I don't think the rest is a bad thing. That's just that you got them off on a think about back when before in BCS time, you went a whole month and a half almost without even playing, and you had to show up on game day. That was all you had. There was no playoff game. There was no semifinals. It was just straight up. You're playing national championship on second week of January, and that's when you play. You played your last week in first week of December, and after that you got a month until you play again.
Yeah.
I don't think the rest is a big deal. I kind of agree with there's too many teams. You're making teams wait. It's kind of stupid in my opinion.
I do agree there's too many teams. Expanded playoff, it only increases the opportunity. It doesn't increase the competition level of what we have going on. We've seen that, right? The bye week, though, per se, I'll take it a different way because rest does have to mean something. But then also, I mean, do you guys think that there's anything to the fact of I just want to keep playing? And I know football's different, but if you're Ohio State, you went and you boat raced Tennessee, okay? And probably after that game, you were like, let's keep it rolling. Like, I don't want to bye week. I don't know. That to me kind of stands out because if you're playing good ball, then you want it. Now, in Georgia's case, that's not going to be an excuse because they had to break in a brand new quarterback, who'd only played the second half of the SEC championship game. But for a team like Oregon that rolled all year, had a hard-fought win, I don't know. Hindsight's obviously 2020, but does rest matter more than just continuing a rhythm? And how much does rhythm really matter in football with it such a physical sport?
Yeah, I mean, playing, you certainly can get momentum. And that's really what we saw. Every team that played in the first round won in the quarterfinal. And I think it has a lot to do with because they pretty much blew out whoever they played in the first round, with the exception of Texas. So, they've got momentum, but I think the rest is important.
Yeah.
But it's a moot point now because every team that had rest is out. So there's no data point for it.
It'll be interesting to see kind of what it goes through. Like, Ralph, when we look at this, like, what does next year look like? Does next year, is it split 2-2? Is it next year, do all the teams that have the bye, end up winning? And maybe it's an individual case-by-case basis of who wants to utilize it. I do think for a program team like Ohio State, a bye would have made them think a little bit more, where they went to go play Tennessee. They were feeling good about it, and it kind of reignited the confidence after the way their regular season ended. So that it might be a case-by-case basis.
Yeah, well, for one, Ohio State. The thing about Ohio State right now is this is the team we thought they were.
Yeah.
Truly, this is who we thought they could be this year. This high potent offense with a powerful run game and very good quarterback play out Will Howard, and we hadn't seen that really most of the year, especially against Michigan. And I mean, you could say, I mean, they had it against Oregon the first time, but still, it wasn't like it was so high powered they won the game outright. But you saw it on last night that they just showed up way better than the other team did. I mean, they truly hit him in the mouth first 2 drives. Jeremiah Smith's the best receiver in the country. You can't say that he's not. Dude's a freak. He could play on Sunday tomorrow if you wanted to. You know, I mean, he truly is a natural born receiver who's going to be a great player for the next 10, 12 years. I feel like Ohio State's offensive line played great. You saw what they did for 4 quarters against Oregon's defense. They didn't need rest.
Yeah.
I still think some of these teams, I think Arizona State probably had the most fight. They just had a lot more, to play for themselves, not just, for the playoff, but to prove themselves that they deserved to be there. And they did.
Yeah.
I thought they showed up for a great game. And I know that 4th quarter was wild toward the 2 missed field goals by Texas, but I mean, Will was in the building. He could see everything that was going on. Cam Scatterbo was an absolute beast.
Yeah. They ranked first in the country in expected dog per play.
Agreed.
I like that. Maybe we make that a Crowdaboo stat next year, the expected dog per play. The Jelly Pumpkin says the NFL has had buys. First off, amazing username. The NFL has had buys for years, and it hasn't mattered. In football, rest is king. I do agree with that. Baseball is so much different than because it's all rhythm and routine. The only caveat to push is specifically Ohio State. With the way their season ended, the opportunity to come back and play, but they did get a bye because they didn't play in the conference title game. So, it's interesting. And the last piece to this puzzle is there was a big conversation coming into this of what would be valued more, the opportunity to play a home playoff game or the bye. And overwhelmingly, you saw college football media say the bye. Well, every team that hosted that home playoff game won and then beat the team with the bye. So once again, it's just one data point, and we're going to have more to go off of. But I thought that was something interesting because that's a conversation too that you're not going to know until you get 5, 6, 7, 8 years into this thing, probably.
That 6 seed right now is going to be the future of everyone wants to play for.
You think? I think the 5 seed.
Well, 5 seed you got to play. You
got to play the number 1 seed if you're the 5 seed.
Yeah, you got to play
the seed.
Yeah. But I'm saying, if you're the the 6 seed, you're playing the number 3 team, and you play either 2, 7, or 10. So you have a better chance in that situation. If it's somebody the same thing year in year out, where the team with the bye gets loses, you'd rather be that 6 seed because you're going to play the 3 seed. You'll beat them on the bye, and you're probably going to play the 7 seed, who you have a better chance against, probably. Not in this year's case. I don't think SMU would have beat Notre Dame. But
yeah, that's fair. Will, were you going to say something? I thought you were looking something up.
No, I was just curious how many NFL wild cards have gone on to win the Super Bowl, and it is 6, if I'm counting right. So you had the Bucs in 2020, Giants in 2007, Steelers in the 2000s, the Ravens. So it's not many. I mean, think about all the Super Bowls. It's
more than I thought, though. Honestly.
Yeah,
the Broncos in 97.
2020 Buccaneers, they were a wild card team.
They were a wild card.
Who won the South that year? Saints.
Would have been the Saints.
Oh, Noah won the Falcons.